Everybody, welcome. Your saltwater guide, Captain Dave Hansen. I have the man, the myth, the legend from Deckhand Sports. We got Dave Farron joining us in the studio today. Thank you for joining us, Dave. I think it's going to be a fun show today. We're waiting for a few people to get on while I introduce. Deckhand Sports has been a very big part of your saltwater guide since pretty much the beginning. And I want to thank you, Dave. I'm glad that you're with us today because we can't do these Friday shows and bring in all these big guests from all over the country without the support of Deckhand Sports. And Dave, you've been a big part of us for a very long time. So from the bottom of my heart and Elliot's heart, thank you very much for supporting us as long as you have. And your product is for what we do and for what my guides do, Captain Al and Pablo and Justin and Sonny. Your product has separated them from the rest as far as fish quality, lobster, taking care of all the things that they do on all the trips that they do. When you go on their boats, you see your product there because your product is second to none. So thank you so much for supporting me and my guides. We appreciate everything you do. But the big question everybody has, how did you get into this fishing thing, buddy?
I mean, I've been fishing since I was a kid. My dad had a champion 18-foot bass boat, locally here in Orange County. We were going to Irvine Lake and trying to get them. We'd do the full moon, go at night, and, have fun, spend all night. I'd, fish until I fell asleep on the boat. And, by 3, 4 in the morning, we were pulling the boat out. So started on the freshwater like most. And I still have my Shimano FX200 little spinner with the fast trigger that we use today, my kids use. But we started doing the freshwater thing, and then rather quickly we upgraded some boats and started launching out of Danaporn Harbor. And when I was getting old enough, Dad let me drive the boat down the ramp and help out. And my graduation gift, graduating high school, was a 3-day on the American Angler out of San Diego. And he's been a long range guy doing 8-day trips, 10-day trips. I think he's been doing it 40 years now. And so that was my baptism into, the game fish and long trips and learning what victory at sea means and all that fun stuff.
What a phenomenal graduation gift though. On the American Angler. That thing is a Cadillac, isn't it?
It's one of my favorite boat. Love the crew, love the guys on there. But the boat itself is just, I mean, he could have picked some other boats and gone a lot cheaper route, but he spoiled me. And I'm still fishing that boat. I got a trip in May on that boat. It's a Deckhand charter trip. We're already sold out. But yeah, it's one heck of a boat, and that whole fleet in San Diego is just amazing. But special place in my heart for the American Angler, just because first boat I fished with my dad on.
Oh yeah, there you go. Beautiful. That boat gets around. That boat, Brian runs one hell of an operation. He's one heck of a guy. Right now, I know he's buried in the lobster thing, but
yeah,
they do it on that boat. That is for sure. And we'd love to have him as a guest on here one day. Hopefully he'll make it. We have a lot of the other long range guys. I know everybody loves listening to Roy Rose and to Andy, Kate. They come on the show a lot, but someday we'll get Brian on here. That'll be awesome. Maybe now that he sees you on here.
Yeah. Brian always does my dad's trip. I've actually never fished with Brian, just the way the trips have always worked out. So shout out to Ray. Ray's my guy on the Angler. Ray's, man, he fishes hard too. Like, just, gets after it. And the deckhands, and it's part of how the company was named Deckhand. Was I realized after a 3-day trip I went on, like, the captains are great, but like you see him at the introductory meeting and then you never see him again, because if we're on fish, they're working. And if we're not on fish, they're working even harder. And so, the guys that you're gonna hang out with, outside the passengers is, fishermen are gonna be the deckhands, and they're gonna make and break your trip. Because if you're not on fish, they're talking to you, they're, kind of entertaining you. And then once you get on fish, especially if you get that PR fish on the line, like, you need somebody who knows how to use a gaff, and those deckhands will make or break your trip. And I just felt like, man, I just had such good time with those guys. And that was kind of half the reason I named the company Deckhand. The other half was, if you're a private boater, you might be the captain, but you're definitely the deckhand. You're doing the rigging, you're doing everything. So it just made sense. And so, yeah, sport boats, man, it's a special piece of my heart right there. I love that community. I'm a part of it first and foremost. And I just need longer trips. You know, I got my little guys, so I keep the 3 or 4 day trips, but you know, I'm making for one of those 8 days. I need to get down to the ridge and, you know, get out to Hurricane Bank at some point, the rocks. Like, it's going to be, I look forward to my future on sport boats. I'm playing the waiting game with little boys right now, and, you know, coaching baseball and all the things. So
we're going to talk about your kids in just a minute, but I want to go back to what you were saying before. People don't understand this. And I talk about it on our website a lot, and I talk about it on a lot of the videos that we put out. It is way harder as a deckhand when the fish are not biting to keep everybody entertained, or to stand up in the tower and stare in those gyro stabilizing binoculars for hours and hours, just looking for that one little piece of seaweed or that one little bird or that one little flip, gang. So like I've said a million times, and I just want to go back to this, you all need to understand, everybody in the industry that works on these boats, we know how to catch fish. What we don't know how to do is make fish bite. So it's never, ever tip according to what you catch.
correct.
Like Dave said, the deckhands, really the unsung heroes of the industry. They are the guys that are putting it out there every single day, looking for you to catch a fish. They have to, so that the boat can stop. So just remember that next time you're on the boat and you don't catch anything. Those guys worked way harder the day you didn't catch than they did the day you caught.
They're exhausted, and, you know, they're running on fumes from lack of sleep. I mean, they got their rest periods and their rotations, but you can tell, like, they're grinding, and it's, you know, it's harder to stare through binoculars than it is to, you know, the excitement of gaffing fish and all that. Like, those guys, and that's why, you know, every trip I go on, I bring some shirts, some hats, some hoodies, bring the gear. You know, I've a lot of great ideas have come out of just talking with deckhands, and like you said, like, they know how to fish. If a deckhand goes, "Hey, let me see your rod. Let me check your drag," or, "Hey, let me teach you this knot," or, "Let me, you know what? You got a 300 gram. Don't do the 350." Whatever they say, because they're fishing every day, and I'm not, and so I listen to them. And, you know, I'm not the world's best fisherman by any means, but I usually get hooked up pretty, you know, as far as hookup rate goes on a sport boat, I do pretty good. And a lot of that is just being humble and listening to deckhands, because they know more than you, even if you're the best fisherman out there. They know way more than you.
Yeah, you couldn't have said it any better. I just want to make sure that all the deckhands that are listening understand that we know how important you guys are to the operations out there. And every one of those captains started out as a deckhand. So
yeah,
that's where we all came from. We all started at the bottom, worked our way up. So just understand that. So let's go back a little bit. You were talking about going out fishing with your dad, but I don't think we talked about how young you were. When he first started taking you on the boat, how little were you?
I mean, we had done some shore fishing for sure along the way. I think when he bought that boat, I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
So that's when we dove in hardcore. I got an older brother. He was 8. And, you know, now immediately my dad had 2 fishing buddies, and it was kind of cool, because he'd always, he'd take us before he'd take his buddies, and we'd hear about his buddies say, "Hey, when are you going to take me fishing?" And, you know, it was only an 18-foot, you know, bass boat. So, you know, it wasn't a whole lot of room for some big guys, but, you know, 2 little kids running around was no problem. So, and we did pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's for a dad. And as you know, when you get your kids to go fishing with you, it's like you won the lottery. It's just like, it's the greatest feeling in the world as a dad. And I want to, everybody that's listening and watching the show today, I want you to understand how important it is to take children fishing. Now, you got some youngins, but they're going out on the boat with you whenever they can. You're introducing them to this passion of yours and ours. This is the
They've
coolest.
been to San Clemente Island. So, yeah, they're going. We're fishing hard and far.
When you open your eyes in the morning and they're standing at the edge of the bed going, "Dad, can we go fishing?" It's like, whoa, it's better than winning the lottery, gang. You got to feel it, right, Dave?
Oh, it's electric. And I'll tell you the opposite is like when I've done some boys trips with my buddies and they did, and the boat's parked out front, they know they're not going. I mean, I can't leave the curb. I mean, they're just laying into me about why, Dad, I want to go. How can I not? I can go fishing. I've got a bigger fish than that guy. And then they have 40-pound yellowfins, both of them. They're doing pretty good themselves. So yeah, it's they want to go fishing. We were at the desert last weekend, and I got a bunch of grief because I didn't bring the bass rods to go fishing the Gulf Lakes. And I was like, guys, we don't have time, but they just want to go fishing. Any body of water, we'll be driving. We live here in San Clemente, and so just driving down the hill, our running joke in the truck is, "Hey, did you see that? Is that a breezer or?" Yeah, they're foaming. I think they're foaming way out there, Dad. So
that's the best.
I got them hooked.
It is electric. It is absolutely electricity when your kids are in it, and they're in it like that. And when did you introduce them to the fish? When did you start taking them? How little were they?
Yeah, kind of right when my older one was like, he was 3 or 4 when we got into like the ocean stuff. Grandpa bought a boat. COVID happened. He got a nice boat down in San Diego, and the problem was he couldn't drive the big boat, and then he couldn't drive the dinghy. So I started buying dinghies and flipping dinghies and worked myself into a boat or two, and then bought a kill bag and it leaked, and that's how Deckhand sprang up. But in the middle of all that, the necessity to get my kids a boat where they could drive and we could putt around the harbor and go fishing for some bass in the harbor and whatnot down in San Diego. That's kind of where it all was. The whole reason was just getting the boys on the water and fishing. And we're not always going out on Grandpa's boat. We'll go down to San Diego and hang out, and it's maybe not the right time of the year, but we'll still putt around the harbor and try and get some bass under the docks or whatever. And that's what basically was the cornerstone of everything just popping off for me in this industry, was getting the boys on the water, getting their lines wet.
Right. That's the key, is to get them involved when they're very young. And if you do it the right way, like Dave's saying, got them involved in the whole thing. And doesn't matter time of year, like Dave was just saying, fishing under the docks, doing all that stuff. And now the kids, you can't take them anywhere. They want to fish wherever they are. If I'm sure your boys are like mine, if you piss a puddle, they're like, "Can we cast in there, Dad?"
Oh yeah. Hey, Dad, we going fishing this weekend? Baseball hasn't started yet. Well, it's going to rain, guys. So what? Let's go. I got a jacket. Let's go fishing.
Yeah. The fish don't care, Dad. They're already wet. They don't.
That's right.
That is so cool, though, to turn them on to that and be a part of. And I watch your post when you got the guys on the boat. You can't wipe those smiles off their face. They don't care if they're catching or not. They just want to be out there with Dad on the boat.
I know the red buoy.
Yep.
Outside of Dana Point. Man, I'll take the boat out on the weekend or whatever, just to run the motors, keep her going, and we'll go float the red buoy for an hour, and you'll think, they'll be more excited than I am on a sport boat catching 200-pounders. Like, they are so jacked at just any sort of action, little, any little pull on the reel, just right there, they love it. Like and heck, we can get 100 mackerel if we want to in a minute, the red buoy. So. That's our go-to spot. So if you see a world cat over at the red buoy, just come by and say hi.
Absolutely, gang. You don't understand. Like, I try to tell everybody, it's not about what, it's about doing it. It's about doing it, not about what you catch. Never ever make that fish sound negative. Oh, it's another mackerel. Those kids don't care. They just want something pulling on their line. So don't make it a negative experience, everybody. Do what Dave's doing with his boys and make everything positive. And when they're begging you to go fishing, guess what? Mama's going to let you go fishing.
Mm-hmm.
You taking the boys and getting out of the house so Mama can relax for a minute. You just won. It's a win-win for both of you.
Well, and I like what you say is, like, the best time to go fishing is when you can. Like, okay, conditions aren't perfect. It may not be current or, whatever. Like, just go, send it. You never know what's going to happen. if you got little kids, inshore, go float the harbor if it sucks outside. Go catch some bait fish or some sand bass or whatever. Just whatever's floating around. Like you'll get into them, and the kid, as long as the kid's pulling one, it's the greatest day ever. So at least for my how it is. But
no, it's the best, and I love that you do that with them. And I love all of our members that post all those pictures on the website of all their fish that their kids are catching, and you see the smile. It doesn't matter if it's a mackerel, if it's a 200-pound bluefin, the kid's smile is exactly the same, gang. You got to get kids smiling. You got to get them into this fishing thing. I want to talk about something real quick, and then we're going to get into how you got into this, making these kill bags. We kind of touched on it for a second with the leaking and everything, but gang, we're talking about taking children fishing right now. We're deep into it. We are up against something that is absolutely mind-blowing to every single one of us that's ever made a living in this industry. They want to take away the fish that built the industry. The industry in Southern California was built on the back of the barred sand bass. This is the most prolific fish. It lives everywhere. It lives in the docks. When Dave was talking about casting it, the boys casting underneath the docks, they're catching spotted bay bass and sand bass. Up and down the California coast, the sand bass is the most prolific fish that any of us have ever seen. They're fun to catch. They're easy to catch for kids. There's no shortage of them. There's gazillions of them. Plus, there's a migratory stream of these fish. We have our residential sand bass that live in the bays and lagoons and on all the rock piles up and down the California coast. But then we have a group that migrates from Mexico into Southern California. We haven't seen the migratory sand bass for a very long time because of water temperatures, water clarity, water temperatures. They don't like that hot water that we've had for the last 15 years. That's not the water they live in. So now all of a sudden there's a couple of people that have decided that we're not allowed to catch sand bass anymore in Southern California. This is going to absolutely devastate our industry. Our industry is barely hanging on by a thread as far as the sport boat. I know the private boater guys, you guys are fine. You guys are catching giant bluefin, spending thousands of dollars a day on fuel. Everything's beautiful in your world. But in everybody else's world, this sand bass is the most leaned on fish in our industry. There's no shortage of it. The population's doing just fine, gang. This is all driven by emotions. So Elliot's put the QR code up there. We're going to have an opportunity to be on a call to save this fishery. It's actually going to save our industry. So those of you that are listening that only like to catch giant bluefin and you don't like the way sand bass taste, I don't care. Help us, please. I don't care if you eat them, if you throw them back, if you don't even like to fish for them. This is all about control, gang. This is all about control. We do not need to give up another species of fish in Southern California. We can't. Well, we can't. This will devastate the industry, gang. When the sport boats all leave, guess what? There won't be any bait boats. Because even though you guys think that the bait companies are surviving off of your half a scoop of bait you buy every day, that's not. They're surviving off of the back of the sport boats going out. There's so many things that survive off the sport boats. The coffee shops, the donut shops, the mom and pa places that make you your egg sandwiches in the morning. And then the sport boats themselves. We rely on this fish when it migrates into Southern California. When does it migrate into Southern California? Right about spring break. It's the craziest thing. It's what guys like myself grew up fishing for, the barred sand bass. They show up at summer break and they leave at the end of summer break. And now there's two people that have decided there's no sand bass and they want to close the sand bass on June 1st to September 1st. They want a full closure, not you can have one or two. They want no take, which is absolutely ridiculous because there's no shortage. But we need every single person on the planet. We have people listening all over the world. I need you all to help because what I talk about on this show every day is the way that California goes is the way the rest of the country goes. So those of you in Texas and Florida that watch me every day, understand when they get our sand bass, they're coming after your redfish. They're coming after your tarpon. They're coming after your Dorado. They're coming after your sailfish. They're coming after your swordfish. They're coming after everything that makes you smile and allows you to make a living. The United States of America is on a mission to stop fishing. Period. End of story. Regardless of how many gazillions of fish there are. Another thing you all need to understand, the barred sand bass has never been commercially fished in California. Yeah, it gets commercially fished in Mexico, but it doesn't get commercially fished in California. So to think that there's a lack of sand bass because Dave Farron and his kids are going out fishing on Dave's World Cat and catching 5 sand bass tomorrow and taking them home and making fish tacos, and to think that that's going to destroy that fishery, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And the people that are making these decisions, gang, they do not care about you or I or Dave Farron or his family or my family. If you look at what I posted on my personal Facebook page, they're saying there's going to be 0 financial impact on this closure. Huh? What are you talking about, gang? So I don't want to keep pounding on this because I'm going to talk about it every single day on the show, but we need all of you to help. I told you as soon as they released the forum where we're all going to be able to log in and have our 1 minute to talk about the fish that has changed our lives. Well, now it's here. The QR code's up there on the screen. Also, we can send letters up until the 29th of this month. We can send out letters. All this has been made public as of midnight last night. So, as we said, Bill Varney and I said, they're going to make it as hard as they can for us to participate in it, but there's nobody in the industry that has a bigger mouth than I do. And we're going to let 800,000 of my followers see this every day. Plus, we've collaborated with all the big influencers back east and in Texas and in Florida. And all the influencers are on board. They're all going to help get the word out there. So let's see if we can't slow this closure thing down, gang. Let's see if we can't help. And I'm going to talk about it every single day on this show. And I thought it was perfect to roll it into what we were talking about taking kids fishing. So thank you, Dave, for letting me take a couple seconds out of our interview to talk about something.
Keep pounding it. I mean, I just learned even more little nuggets about sand bass, and I chime into your shows and listen, but man, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable, gang. If you can hit that scan of that, and already 6 people have, so I love that you're doing that and you're hitting that. We got to slow down this ban, gang. And if we all get involved, it's going to be really impossible for them to close this. We've never had a grassroots thing go on like we're going to have right now. We didn't have this with the MLP because we didn't have social media, and I didn't have this big voice, and I didn't have 800,000 followers back when the MLP came through. I didn't have the touch with all the influencers who follow us, and we all follow each other, and we all understand how important fishing is. So this is our chance, gang. If 30 or 40,000 of us show up on this Zoom call, it's going to make a difference, gang. I'm going to talk about this every single day, but what I really need all of you to do is share this show today. And every day that I do this, every day I talk about this, because unfortunately, my family's our livelihood depends on this fish. This fish has been the driving force. I'm so glad that my father's not with us anymore, because he would have a massive heart attack if he saw what they're planning on doing to our sand bass. Everything that my father bought, everything that he ate, the houses he bought, the boats he built, they all came off the back of the barred sand bass. Dana Wharf Sport Fishing in Dana Point Harbor was built off the back of the barred sand bass. Davies Locker in Newport Beach built off the back. Helgren's in Oceanside built off the back. All the landings in San Pedro and LA built off the back of the barred sand bass. If you look back in history, and we got Michael Folks on the show every Tuesday talking about the history of sport fishing, they were built off the back of the barred sand bass. So this is super important. So if everybody can share this, and like I told you all when I first started talking about this, I don't care if you like sand bass or not. I don't care. That's not even something that you should comment on. Oh, I don't even like them, so I don't care. Well, that's stupid, because we love fishing, gang. Dave Farron, your boys, can you imagine they can't fish for sand bass?
No.
They can't get introduced to fishing.
I mean, it gets point. How much regulation do we need? Like, like 2 little boys and 1 adult going fish locally, it will not affect anything. And I just think that we got to provide opportunity. Like, this state just needs to stop regulating every little thing. I mean, everything we're going through in the state of California right now, this is the right time to kind of usher this through. It's just, yeah, I'm not for it. So I'll be on the call. I'll be sending the letter. So yeah, count me in for sure.
Thank you so much. And every single one of you that have grabbed that QR code, we can see all of you. I want to thank you all very, very much for grabbing that. And then you go to my personal Facebook page, Dave Hansen, and you look, I have every single page of the proposal. I put it all out there so you can go down and you can read every single thing about it. And what's going to scare the living bejesus out of all of you is if you pay close attention, when I read it, I read every part of it. You're going to get a hat. Don't worry, Darren. But what I want you to understand is if you read very carefully, they threw the calico bass and the spotted bay bass in this thing. They did. It's in there. You're going to go, huh? And back in 2013, they took our sand bass, calico bass, and spotted bay bass on the same exact day, and they took it from 10, possession limit of 10 to possession limit of 5. And then they took the size limit from 12 inches to 14 on all 3 of those species. None of them are the sand bass, calico bass, spotted bay bass. They're not, they don't live in the same water. They don't eat the same food. They don't act the same way. So to think that that was done with any type of science tells you that if you think that was good for us, it wasn't. It wasn't good for the fish. They need to be culled. They can't have 9 billion of them at 12 inches long out there in the water. You don't have any growth. You don't have those big, giant home guard calico bass anymore because we're not allowed to cull them. So you don't have those 8, 10, 12, 15 pound calicos that we used to catch or snag or hook onto and not land, because it's like putting a bunch of fish in an aquarium. They can't grow if there's no room. Same thing's happening. If you've ever stuck your head over the side and seen calico bass, sand bass, spotted bay bass are everywhere. So I'm going to leave that subject now. Hopefully enough of you grab that QR code and put it out there and get involved, gang. It's time to forget about CCA or any other company getting involved. The only people that can save this is us. We, the people. That's like it says in the Constitution of the United States of America. We, the people. We've lost that. Nobody understands how powerful we, the people, are. So try to help us save this, because, gang, in 5 or 6 years, when you look back and you go, wow, we can't fish for anything anymore. Well, it started with the MLPs and it's gone on and on and on. If they take anything else from us, it's going to kill us. So, all right, that's enough of that. Dave, back to what back to what you were saying about the kill bag. When you're doing that long range thing and you get in at the end of the trip, and everybody does this, if you're going to take a amount of fish home to process them at your house, you want to take some fish home. Yeah, you're going to take them to the Fisherman's Process or one of the processing plants down there in San Diego, but you want to take a couple back to your house. You're going to put them in the old style bag and put them in the back of your car, and then all that slimy ice water leaked all over in your truck. Go ahead.
Yeah, before that, I mean, so, my dad's been going for 40 years, right, or whatever. He's got the big cooler, that coffin like cooler that's up in the rafters in the garage that he used once a year to go down to San Diego with. And I hated playing cooler Jenga, because you take the truck down to the landing down in San Diego, you got coolers, you got all your gear. Now you can't have the coolers get stolen in the parking lots. Now you're in between the cars trying to get the coolers into the truck. Like, it's just a nightmare. You got to back up the truck to get it in, park the truck. Just a nightmare. And so, true story, the first samples we tested was on a 3-day trip. And that was 2021, when all the processors, you couldn't get in. There was a nightmare. They didn't have staff, COVID, all that. So you really couldn't get anything processed. So we had to, or they wouldn't pick up, and you had to take your fish to the processor. And so the first bags we tested were 48-inch bags that we brought to the landing, put the whole fish in them, and they were bluefin. They were 60 school size, so they were fitting in the 48-inch bag. Some tails sticking out because we had a bunch, and put them in the bed of the truck, took them over to the processor, got them processed. Then once they were processed, iced down the fillets, put them in the bag, zipped it up. Not a drop of water in the truck bed. No ooze, no goo, no gooey stuff, no smelling. Especially if you got a car. Like my buddies, he went on an 8-day trip, took some 72s, and had them in a Chevy Volt, and that's a hatchback little car, and he had them inside there, not a leak, nothing. So yeah, kind of the original testing, because if you want to test a kill bag, you got to go catch a fish. Was on at the sport boats at the landings, bringing them home. And I tell you what, the air coffins, our new product that came out, that inflatable kill bags that become rigid, those things are the best, because that 225 liter we have, when you get that 120 pound or less fish, it just slips right in there. Yeah, that's the 100 liters. So the one that's bigger than that's 225. It's about the size of a 48-inch, but kill bag, but bigger. That thing, you can slip school size tuna in whole, just fit like 4 of them if you just yin and yang them back and forth, stacking them. It's an unbelievable process, and we had all kinds of people just going, "Are you kidding me? What is that bag? You just slip them in?" Like they were just blown away, and we got moved a couple of units on the website that day. But yeah, that air coffin, that one right there, that can hold 4 school-size bluefin perfectly. So whether you're bringing them home to process in your backyard or taking them to the processor, it makes life so easy. It's got these big handles, pick them up, put them in the truck. But yeah, it all started figuring out whether our bags leaked or not at the landing down in San Diego.
Right. And what Dave's talking about is there were some other bags out there on the market, and when you would put them in the back of your car, when you would get to wherever you were going, I know in Southern California, driving is perfect and no one ever slams on their brakes or does anything crazy. But when you would slam on your brakes, all that slosh would come flying out of the zippers and go all over in your car. And a lot of us have a spouse that's not real into that stench of that smell. You can't get it out of your car. So
I'm not into it.
This was a super needed thing. A leak-proof kill bag, a leak-proof bag that's not going to throw that slime everywhere, gang. And as we look at this down there on the bottom of the screen, you see how the bag is designed. Here's another thing for a guy that's a deckhand or a captain. When you're carrying that bluefin and you go up to the bag, you have to let go of it on the old style bags to open it. See the angle that bag, talk about that, because it makes that zipper so easy to open because of the way you have it angled. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I get excited because I'm into this industry and I've seen everything you could possibly do wrong. And we've tried everything with yours. There's nothing wrong. You figured it all out. It's pretty spectacular.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons I love, and we'll talk about the PCS show later, but I love to get feedback. So we had our Gen 1s, we're on to our Gen 2 bags now, but I got a ton of feedback, and our original design was still kind of in this shape, because what I didn't like about the bags I had purchased before that leaked were that when you had ice in there and you had fish in there, and whether you're adding your first fish or your third fish, really you had to rip on that zipper, because that bag always wanted to get really wide, and the zipper didn't want to come shut. And so then I broke zippers and teeth because of it. And I realized, well, if we just make the shape of the bag to be like an A-frame house where that zipper wants to come together and create that shape, it's going to be a much easier process for the person trying to, because that's the thing, like you've grinded, you woke up at 3 a.m., you launched the boat, you glassed all morning, finally found caught a great fish, your back hurts now, your guy finally gaffed it, you guys lifted it over. at this point, you might be exhausted and it's your first fish. The last thing you want to do is fight the bag, try and, make sure that fish is safe and in a cool atmosphere, cool temperature. So I really want that bag to shut and just at the end of the day, just work easy. Like, not be a thought, not be like, oh, be careful with the zippers, or, hey, this thing's going to leak, or, hey, watch out for the ice sliding all over. So as the company's grown, we've innovated and took great feedback, and a lot of it was personally fishing, and a lot, and the other half of it was just customers saying, hey, I love your product, but hey, you ever thought about this? Or if you could really do this, I think it would be a great idea. I'm willing to try anything. So the ice baffles, that came from I was talking with a guy, you might know Dave Marciano.
Yeah, a little bit. He's been on the show a few times.
Yeah, what a guy. So just chatting with him in the at the PCS show, he said, hey, and he wanted it more so for another product, but it just a light bulb went off when he said it, and he said, I hate that I got to put the deckhand on watch. We call it ice watch, where every 20 to 40 minutes, and they're catching big bluefins that are worth a lot of money. He's making his livelihood. We always have this panic that the fish isn't getting iced properly because we're in big waves and swells, and the boat's moving around, the ice is shifting from one end to the other, and all of a sudden you haven't checked the bag in an hour or two, and now all the ice is, at the fish's head instead of, in the meat of it. And so that's light bulb went off, and I thought, oh, well, like baffles in a ship, whether it's like fuel tanks or other, where you're trying to control volume of, usually it's fluid, but same principle works for ice. Just putting in some breakers in there so the ice can only move about 12 to 18 inches depending on the size of the bag, and you're not going to get back to the dock 3 hours later when you get back from San Clemente Island and you realize, oh shoot, we've been icing the tail only the last 3 hours. So that's where those came in. And then the best part about it, if you're not all about them, you don't need to put them in the bag. They Velcro in or out. Everything, you can clean them off. They store in a little baggie. Throw that up in the storage. In the heat of the moment, if it's wide open, you're just throwing tuna in a bag. Like, you don't even have to put them in. But if you want to take the best possible care of the fish, we call them modular foam blocks, MFPs. But the ice baffles, they're going to really take care of that fish. Make sure we've got an even bed of ice, and it's not going to go anywhere.
Right. There's so much more about this bag that I want to talk about, but I just want everybody that's watching to understand, as we get further into these bags and you get to learn more about them today, and today only, because Dave is on the show with us today. He's offering everybody that's watching. This is crazy. This is like he's pretty much selling them for his cost. He's selling every product on his website today for 30% off, gang. So if you guys are in manufacturing industry at all, the margins are not that big. So think about that. Dave's doing something unheard of for us, all of us that are watching today. 30% off everything we're talking about. This is only for today, though. It's not going to be good after today.
It's good for 24 hours. So we're just having some fun. Wanted to show some love to your saltwater guide community. You guys are awesome. You're my kind of people. I love coming on and watching the show with you guys. I read the comments. Shout out to Justin. So yeah, just want to offer you guys 30% off, 24 hours only. So pretty much, if you're watching the show, you're getting that access, because at noon tomorrow the code will drop off.
So take advantage of it, gang. But we're going to show you more reasons why you want to do this. So Elliot was kind of showing a few pictures of the tie down of you have so many little rings on there. Me being a private guide for so many years, going on different boats, we have 90% of the bags 90% of the boats had nowhere to tie down the old style bags that we all used. There was nowhere. You had one tie down and it didn't work on 90% of the boats I drove. This bag, there's so many tie down spots.
Yeah.
And they're rigid. It's not going to rip out when you're flying through the water like most of us do. Talk about that. And why did you come up with that?
Absolutely. So we had the Gen 1s, and there was a couple of features, but there, at the end of the day, there was nothing, didn't have all the little add-ons that these Gen 2s have. And I was talking with a guy, know his face exactly. I forget his name, but I'll probably see him again here in a month. But we were talking, and he had like a 35-foot, think of like a Cabo Express with a swim deck, and he's talking to me about how he can't hook a kill bag to the swim step, and it always sags off when they get underway, and it's getting into the water, or it's slipping or whatever, and we need a way to secure it. And I just went, huh. Because I always think about when I'm building a product, I'm thinking about my boat. Well, I don't even have a swim step, but I've had a V-hull too, and I was thinking like, okay, 35-foot boat. I don't have one of those yet, and okay, so let me think about this. And we just started spitballing in the booth, and what if I tell them, what if I did this? What if I did that? Well, that would work. And then I said, well, explain to me how you connect. And this is where a lot of the features came from. I said, explain to me where you exactly connect your kill bag. He says, well, I put it on the swim deck and I go cleat to cleat with it. But it'd be great if I could somehow pin it to the transom of the boat. And I said, oh, we'll just add some D-clips on the bottom. That's easy. That's not gonna add a lot of costs. And I said, okay, what if I added Molly loop system, which is like the military backpacks that have the little loops going all the way down. And so they're just under the D-clips. So what you can do is you take your 5/8 or whatever size dock line you got, bigger boats. You can fit like a 3/4 rope through it, and so you go cleat with the loop, run it through the side loops of the bag, and then through the Molly loops all the way back to the other side to the other cleat, and that's going to secure your bag to the boat. And then you can go a little line on each side and grab those D-clips and just pin it back. Some guys use a bungee cord, however you want to do it, because that's what I learned the biggest talking to fishermen at the PCS show was you fish differently than I fish on boats that are different from my boat. And so when that really clicked, I just decided, shoot, we need all the options we can put on this bag, so that everybody's taken care of, whether you're on a center console V-hull or a power cat, or you're on a big 45-foot sport fisher or whatever. You need options to whether you're going swim deck, you're going cockpit, you might go on the bow. So I don't have a huge bow with a dinghy, but I know a lot of guys that put 2 kill bags up on the front.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. We had them on the bow of the Hatteras. There was nowhere to tie them down. It was unbelievable. And then if it was rough at all, the things were sliding back and forth. So when I saw all that you were doing, I was like, this is magic. And then I started telling all of our members and all of our clients and all of my old owners, you guys got to check these bags out. These are cutting edge. That swim step thing was really gnarly back in the day, because you could go cleat to cleat, and then the middle of the bag, when you throw some fish in there, and then you would take off, and the water would, if it was rough at all, it would start to pull the middle of the bag out away from. It was just a complete and utter nightmare. But there's none of that anymore, gang. The really cool thing about Dave, he's going to be at the Pacific Coast Sport Fishing Festival. He's going to be right inside the door of the hangar. Those of you that went to the show last year, you know where I'm talking about. Those that don't know, when you go to the PCS show this year, when you'll see the hangar, it's the biggest building there. It's a big, tall building with these giant hangar doors. Right inside the door, there he is, standing there. And you have so much product in there, it's hard to not see you guys. And then the team's all there with the blue shirts and the Deckhand sports hats on. And then you service the product too. Like Jeanette's on here talking about your service, how you guys take care of your clients. Where a lot of companies after the sale, that's that. Not you. You guys are in there all the time, talking to everybody, finding out what works, what doesn't work. It's absolutely amazing. John, you just bought one of the bags. John Rowe, he's been with me, Dave, since the very beginning of your Saltwater Guide. He was one of my original people that signed up in 2017. So John's caught a ton of fish, and now he's got a beautiful kill bag. How cool is that, John? Thank you for grabbing that from Dave Farron. Another thing you and Justin did a couple years ago on the live lobster show,
last year,
you had those backpacks to take your lobsters home in, those dry bags. Those things are rad.
Yeah, that was all him. I mean, I brought some dry bags with me. I had a cooler specifically for me, so I just put mine in my, the actual soft coolers we sell. I brought them. Hey, we might catch them. Let's be ready, right? And then I brought some extra bags for Justin and his boat. And then he started throwing a lot. We caught a lot. We did pretty good really good that night. And he threw the lobsters in the dry bags, and I'm like, well, shoot, that works too. That's great. Yeah, it's not going to leak. And if you want to throw some ice in there too, that's not going to be a problem. And that'll get you home absolutely. So he found another purpose for a bag that probably never would have had lobster in it had Justin not done so well guiding us. It was that was a night we caught. He measured, it was like 10.75 pounds. We caught that just massive. I'd never done that well. So like, to me, I was just happy to be on the boat, just jaw drop, drooling, wiping my mouth, going, oh God, this is crazy. And speaking of Justin, I did want to bring that up. I've called him a couple of times. I learned so much. I tried to be a sponge. Again, I'm not the best fisherman. I didn't know anything of lobster hooping. And so I really learned his program, learned what he did, how he rigged it, got in on all the Promar stuff, and really ran his program to the point we went out about a month ago off Dana Point, and we did amazing. As they say in Florida, we left them chewing. We got 7. It was just 2 of us, me and my buddy on my boat, and we went off the break wall, and we got 7 in like 3 hours. And I told my buddy when we got on the boat, hey, we're going to run Captain Justin's program. I'm going to do exactly how he did it. I've rigged everything the same way he has. And it's going to give us our best chance. So let's see if we can go get him. And we got him. And we did great. It was awesome.
Thank you so much for saying that, gang. The thing Dave's talking about is Justin's one of the guides that works with me at Your Saltwater Guide. Justin worked for me on the boats when he was a young man. He's been on the show many, many times. You can see Justin pretty much every Monday. And then if you're a member of our website, Your Saltwater Guide, you can get all these pointers from Justin. And Dave, like you say, you call Justin and guess who answers the phone? Justin. There's no other website out there like what we're doing. Captain Al Clowers and Justin and Pablo, those guys are on it. And if they don't answer the phone, they know they're going to get a call from Captain Dave in a minute. So they answer every call, even though they would anyway. I'm just saying they answer all the calls. What we got going on is absolutely second to none. And our relationship with you is incredible. You see so many people here leaving comments, gang. Dave's the real deal. He's the real deal. He supports Your Saltwater Guide to the most he could possibly support it. He's got another really cool thing. Besides this 30% off, anybody that shows up at the Pacific Coast Sport Fishing Festival wearing our gear, our shirt or our hat, let them know what they get, Dave.
Walk up to the booth. You're going to get one of these. We got these in navy and gray. And so if you're wearing your Saltwater Guide hat, you're going to get a free hat if you want one. So just literally come on up, say, hey, I'm looking for my Deckhand hat, and show me Your Saltwater Guide logo, and it's all yours. So we got a bunch of them. So we don't think we'll run out. We'll have them for the whole weekend. But I just want to, like Captain Dave says, like, you guys are all family. I feel like I'm in the family. I'm one of you guys. I fish, got a boat, need advice, and I just want to catch them. And so I want to take care of the family. So, any of you guys come on up to the booth. We'll have hats and a ton of other stuff. So stop on by. You won't be able to miss us. Like Dave said, the hangar hall, we'll have big TVs, navy and white booth. You won't be able to miss it. We're the front row, same spot as last year. So we found a home at PCS, and it's good to see everybody, at least on an annual basis. So stop by. We'll have hats and other fun stuff for you guys.
And then tickets are on sale now, gang. You can get your tickets for the PCS show. And like I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, you want to come twice. You can't see it all in one day. It's like It's an amazing, amazing show. Bigger and better than last year. It's much larger than it was last year. And last year was overwhelming how big it was. This year, it's going to be even bigger. Bill's got a couple of tents this year he had to get because so many exhibitors want to be a part of the Pacific Coast Sport Fishing Festival. And Dave, the really cool thing about you, besides you have the products and you're in there listening to the client that's buying your product. You're listening and you're doing redesigns. And if there's something that you guys don't like that he's doing, or there's something you like a lot that he's doing, go into the booth and talk to him. He's available. He wants to hear from you. That's the cool thing about it. Just like when I was at ICAST, Elliot and I had to wait probably 10 minutes because you were talking to so many customers about your product. And we just wanted to say hi and tell you that we were there and we supported you. And no, you take the time, which is pretty cool. And they're standing in line to talk to you. It's pretty spectacular.
Appreciate that. Yeah, we're actually going to bring in a couple extra guys to help manage the booth so I can be more available. Because honestly, I mean, it's innovate or die, and the best ideas and feedback you're ever going to get is the people using your stuff. And I've been in sporting goods for 20 years building product in a different industry, baseball, softball, team sports, and that's kind of where I learned, like, I'm not the best fisherman, but I know how to make a really good product because I listen and get all the ideas. That all came from, I played baseball back in the day and I wasn't the best player, but I got into making the product and got pretty good at it. And, with this fishing thing it's a different industry, but it's got a lot of similarities, and it came really easy. And I know one thing, going back to service, and, we offer a 1-year warranty because we stand behind it. It's a really good product. There's always a bad apple or two in the production. And if that happens, we're going to make it right. We'll replace it and fix it for you. But we're going to stand behind our bags with that 1-year warranty. And so, the very few warranties we've had over the years, we make them whole because we want you to trust that, you're going to spend some money with us, but it's going to be a bag. It's going to last. We're not going anywhere. And if there happens to be an issue, we'll absolutely take care of it. And to the point, it might just be me getting on the phone with you and figuring out what you need and what needs to be taken care of. So, yeah. And that all comes back from, the other industry I came from, where you got to take care of your people, your customers. That's the life of the company, it's people that use your stuff. So.
Yeah. And you do. There's no doubt about it. You can tell by the hundreds of comments coming up on the screen right now, and we'd love to be able to
keep up with them.
Yeah, we'd love to be able to answer all of
everybody, Jeanette, and all Matt and everybody. It's I just can't read all the comments. We're talking too much.
We will go back through though, gang, and answer any questions we didn't get to after the show's over.
Yeah.
But as we go through the plethora of, a lot of people are asking how many products. There's just so much product on there. We could do a 1-hour show of just showing each and every product. So you're going to have to go down the rabbit hole yourself, but you guys can ask questions after the show. You can throw questions up on here. Dave will go back in and look when he has free time, when he's free time. I'm just kidding. He'll do his very best to answer your comments though, gang. But there's so much really great things coming down the pipe with your Saltwater Guide and Deckhand Sports and our relationship, but nothing as special as the 30% off that you're all going to get. One more time, we want to let you know that you get 30% off for 24 hours. So I want you to take advantage of that, gang. You will not be disappointed. What is Jeanette saying?
She's talking about the hat. I threw in a hat for her, I think, on one of her orders, and she was very generous. She was excited to get it. So, yeah,
she's one of your biggest cheerleaders. She's constantly on the shows on Friday talking about your products because they are. As far as fish preservation, like when I had Paul Hebert on, or Tom Rowland from Tom Rowland Podcast, everybody, when they see the product and they've never seen it before, they just go, what in the heck? And then Andy Cates and Roy Rose, they see those baffles in the kill bag. That's a huge, huge difference. And then the zippers themselves, that way that the bag opens so easy. I can't tell you how many times I've had my hand wrapped around a Dorado and I just want to drop it in the bag, but nope. I have to drop the Dorado on the deck to open that old style, those old bags. And then the thing's flopping all over the place. But you can just slip it in there with one hand, unzip it, and then zip it right back up with one hand. The design is incredible. So many cool things over there, gang. You'll be blown away by all the great things that are going on at Deckhand Sports. And he's constantly changing whatever needs to be changed, which is really innovative. But I think it goes back to your sporting goods life. I knew there was something, because a lot of manufacturers, they make a product. That's it. That's all you got. That's it. It's not going to change. This is what you get.
I was very cognizant. Like I knew I wanted to fix the kill bag problem, and kind of my experience with the original kill bag and the issues I was having with it. And I knew right away how to fix it. And I had the capabilities to do it. But I also knew, like, hey, if we're going to do this, like, let's make a company, let's make a brand. Like, let's not make a product company, a one-off product company. And, you know, and then, well, what am I going to name it? And figured out the Deckhand, because I'm always hanging out with the deck. Like, I'm the guy on the deck who's going to hang out with the Deckhand, whether I'm on, you know, your Hatteras, or if I'm on the big sport boat on the American Angler, or shoot, if my buddy's running the boat, I deckhand. I deckhand more on my boat than I do drive my boat, and I just let my buddy drive it. And it, you know, I'm always hanging out with the deckhands, or I am the deckhand. So we named the company, and I knew right away, like, I wanted to offer really good product at an affordable price that fishermen are going to use, and wanted to be a little bit lifestyle, where, like, some of this product would translate outside of fishing. But obviously the flagship product was going to be the kill bag. But, like, we haven't even talked about the coolers. We've talked a little bit about the dry bags. We got some reel bags that are insane, that are just going crazy. Whether you're a sport boat guy or a private boat guy, or just need a place to put the reels in the garage. We got some, you know, the reel bags have been a tremendous hit. Those were brand new at the end of this last year. And then, you know, these air coffins, you know, they're wild, man. It's just a unique product. It's an expensive one, and we're running some specials, but it's a home run for storage. It's a home run for insulating, and keeping, you know, ice on the boat for multiple days. And they're just cool. You just pump them up, and they're, you know, it's the benefits of having that hard cooler as far as moving around and handling and dealing with it, versus a kill bag that doesn't have a lot of structure, but at the same breath, it collapses down and stores great like a kill bag does. And, you know, our kill bags roll up, and we got the strap, and that's a great, but the air coffins, they suck down and go pancake flat and go in that little bag. It works out really good.
Yeah, Elliot showed that video earlier. Yep. You're carrying it down like a duffel bag, and then you just hit it with the pump, and bam, you got an ice chest. But it's called the air coffin. You want to check that out. All these videos that you saw on the show today, here you go. There you go. Look at Elliot.
Wizard.
I think he's a little better than Jamie.
Yeah, I know that reference. I could use an Elliot. That's for sure. What a guy. Yeah, it's a killer bag, and it just, you know, we got multiple sizes, whether you got your skiff, or, you know, your bigger boat, or whether you're going to Lake Havasu in the summer and you just need an auxiliary cooler to bring some more waters on the boat. Like, it's very functional. You know, the first one I ever sold was to a guy who wanted it for Havasu, which is why I said that. But we take them out there too. But yeah, I use it all. That's the thing. I just want to keep innovating, keep pushing. You know, I'm willing to try anything once, see what hits. But at that same breath, I want to stay true to, like, we started with the kill bag. That's a flagship product, and we're going to be a brand and not just a one-off product. So we're here to say we got a huge booth at the PCS, and you know, we're excited. It's going to be a good year. You know, if we get the sand bass thing out of the way, and, you know, the fish stay around, and you know, I think it's good. We're having a lot of fun. 2025, things are looking bright, you know, in this country. So a lot of good stuff.
Absolutely, we're in for some phenomenal stuff, gang. And one more thing, Arnie, he has a club down in San Diego. He's asking, do you do any club speaking? What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I'm open to anything. Yeah, absolutely.
So Arnie, just text message me after the show. I'll get you a hold of Dave. Anybody else that's watching, you need a speaker to come down and speak at your club anywhere. He lives in San Clemente, so it's easy for him to get to San Diego or up towards Long Beach. It's an easy drive for him, you know, when he has all that extra free time that he has. Because you know how it is when you're raising little guys. You got tons of free time. Baseball season's going to start here soon, right after this rain tomorrow. We're going to have rain in Southern California tomorrow, gang. Justin's going to be live hoop netting tonight. Got a great group of guys. You got Brian from Promar. You got Renee, and he's got a couple friends are going on Justin's boat tonight. Unless Justin canceled. I don't know if he canceled or not. You're on here right now, Justin. Are you fishing tonight still? Let everybody know. And then I know he's fishing tomorrow, barring the terrible weather. It looks like it's going to get nice in the afternoon. We got some gnarly southeast wind tomorrow morning, though. Pretty crazy looking in the morning, but it's going to get nice in the afternoon. And then Sunday looks gorgeous. If you guys follow our game plans, you'll see what we're talking about. And tomorrow morning, we'll have our fish report. We'll do our morning fish report at 9 o'clock. We'll have the guys, anybody that's been out fishing this week will be talking about it. And call in to the show and talk about it. We'll be talking about the sand bass thing every single day every single day, because it's so important to make sure we don't have any more closures. Dave Farron, thank you so much for being on the show today and answering all the questions and just letting everybody know about your phenomenal product and how passionate you are about fishing. I really appreciate that.
Thanks for the opportunity, Dave. This was awesome. Just having a conversation and, yeah, let's have some fun with that 30% off QR code. But I appreciate the time and opportunity. And yeah, it's good to see the family on here and see all the comments. And I'll be going through and replying. So appreciate the having me on today. This was great.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is needed to have, and we'll have you on again real soon, I promise. Everybody, thank you so much for following along. Those of you that grabbed the QR code for the sand bass thing, thank you very much for sharing that across to all of your social media. Every single person matters. We need to save this fishery like you guys can't even believe. The industry's really, 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 really leaning hard on us to help save this industry. So let's show them the power of your saltwater guide. So everybody get involved. Thank you so much, Elliot, for producing a fantastic show. And everybody that's watching, we can't do this without you. So thank you all very, very much.